Welcome to Raptor's Recon. Today we're going to talk a little bit about an adult topic here. So we're forewarned, we'll be using different language for this stuff, but I just had to throw my 2 cents into this. And what we're talking about today is the Andor Season 2 scene where the director decided to depict what I will call SA, okay? And how that ultimately was a poor choice. Um, just speaking as a person, right? I think we all probably know SA victims, whether that be family, friends, or acquaintances. It's not something to be trifled with, it's not something to be thrown about, and it's not something that needs to be in Star Wars. I'm going to put that up front. Okay, that's my bottom line up front. Okay, this does not need to be in Star Wars. Not like that, and not up in your face. I mean, there is evil, right? Good versus evil, and then there's another level of evil and depicting that. Okay, perhaps in this scene, maybe they could have chose to allude to what was going on rather than depict it straight up, right up in your face, and including, I mean, up to and including the actress saying it, like right, using the SA terminology, right in your face, as if the audience didn't know what was just happening. I mean, look, personally, I don't like that in any movie or any show or any book. I don't like that. I will skip over that stuff or I will walk out. That's my own personal thing. I don't like that subject. It's not something, if you talk about it like something had happened and maybe that's part of the story and it happened off screen, whatever, okay. Personally, I don't like it, especially if it's something that is directed at a young audience. Now you could say, well, Andor is for an older audience, but hey, look, man, Star Wars is for kids primarily. Okay. Now, unlike the shills, like from Screen Rant and some of the others, I don't think that this is some grandiose, wonderful piece of writing. I'm sorry. It's disgusting shock value, and it's kind of leaning towards the realms of shows like Game of Thrones, man. And I don't want look. I watched Game of Thrones, and it was what it was. And there were certain things I was like, yeah, I don't like that, right? But that was what it was. I don't want Star Wars Game of Thrones. I don't want that kind of stuff injected into something that I would sit down with my kids and watch. Daddy, what is this? I don't want to. What? Oh my God, the horror. That's almost just depicting it in that fashion and what was going on. That's traumatizing to a young viewer. Okay? And then to come in and just talk about it. Hey, yeah, this is what happened. Hey, guys, congratulations. Now we've ripped and completely shattered part of your, you know, youthful innocence. Oh God, it's disgusting. Where was the Disney Plus warning about the content? I mean, freaking A. Disney puts warning messages in front of the Muppet Show, okay? And there's no warning about this? Really? You don't think kids get on there and watch stuff like this? I mean, we're not watching, Deadpool or freaking Game of Thrones or freaking like, even Daredevil with all its explicit stuff and whatever. I mean, there are things that are designed and they are just for adults and they should be left as such. But Star Wars, writ large, is for the youth, okay? And then I just don't understand it. It's almost like Disney talks out of both sides of their mouth. We can't call Boba Fett's ship Slave One anymore. You can't even refer to Leia's outfit as Slave Leia's outfit anymore because that's taboo, right? But we can look at the screen and talk about SA explicitly after having a violent representation of that, as if no one could figure out what was happening. Man, I thought the Acolyte set a bar for poor writing, but this one takes the cake for me. And I'm sorry, but look, my opinion on Andor, and I watched all season one, right? If I took myself out of the Star Wars universe and I watched it and it was its own show and its own entity, I'd say, yeah, it's a decent show. It's a decent show for what it was, right? If it was like sci-fi somewhere else and that was it, I would give it, yeah, decent. But for Star Wars, as a Star Wars show, I didn't really like it. So I don't know if you understand that, but I can appreciate something like if it was unique, it's cool. But under the banner of Star Wars, it just doesn't fit very well for me. And that was my general feeling for season 1. Now you roll into season 2 and they do this kind of thing. I mean, it's disgusting. You don't need to do that. It is completely unnecessary and out of place. And it sets a bar for poor writing and just poor judgment, man. I mean, masters at their craft. Like, think about like Alfred Hitchcock, right? Who was a master of horror films and things like that. He created suspense and horror without going into the gory details and all that stuff. And you didn't have to see things explicitly, right? You can allude to it. You can have things happen and still create that sense of suspense, and tension. This guy could have done that, man, easily, right? And look, on the topic of power plays and things like that and covering sensitive topics like this, I mean, sure, we've seen this before in Star Wars in a way, right? But to come out and say, wow, we're all a product of SA. This is what happens. I mean, are you crazy, man? You're writing for Star Wars, dude. Look, let's look at the genius, right? These kinds of things, these serious things have happened and have been depicted previously by the genius of George Lucas, right? What did he do? Hey, we blew up a freaking planet, bro. You don't think that that's some serious stuff right there? You don't think that there was women, children, men, everybody, entire, species completely obliterated? That was not serious? No, of course that was serious, right? And they showed it, and the power of it was there, right? In the reaction by Obi-Wan, the reaction by Leia, right? And the evil by how, ambivalent the Empire was to it, how much they were like, we're just testing this sucker out. Let's see how this goes. And we're going to use your planet. Haha, great. So, I mean, that showed the evil. That showed how wrong things were, right? Now, let's fast forward a little bit. Let's look at Return of the Jedi. The power dynamic between Princess Leia and Jabba the Hutt, right? Was it implied there? Sure. Right? She was humiliated by having to wear what she had to wear and, being forced to perform, and dance or whatever and do whatever or just be a plaything for someone in power, aka Jabba. And then she gets her revenge, which was the sweet part on that. So, but none of that was really shown. None of that was shown. And if they were implying that, it was over our head as children. We didn't even see that. It was not in the same way that the thing were depicted in Andor season 2, man. And then you could say, oh, well, what about episode 3, right? Good old Revenge of the Sith, right? Now that movie is got a lot of stuff in there, right? One in particular, the younglings, right? Order 66 and whatnot. Did Lucas depict that? No, he didn't have to, man. The one flick of the lightsaber, the jolt of the child, that was enough. I mean, that was harsh for me. I had a hard time watching that because that was pretty serious stuff, right? And then the reaction of Yoda and Obi-Wan to what they were seeing, we didn't see it. Thank God we didn't see that, right? That was the best decision I think they ever made with that, because that was a serious thing that I was even surprised, like, what? He did what? But that is how it was handled, okay? Those things that were serious were handled delicately and handled in a way that even younger audiences could watch it. It's scary and stuff, but it did not kind of rip their soul out, man. It didn't freaking, rip away that innocence And so for me, and God, this guy, this Tony Gilroy, oh my gosh, and his idiot comments about, defending this and, oh, ho, ho, we're all, I mean, that's just stupid, man. I'm sorry, but I'm done with Andor season 2, bro. I don't care. You guys, like, if y'all like it, more power to you. That's not Star Wars. Sci-fi in another thing, if I'm watching Terminator, my expectations are a little bit different than if I'm watching, you know, Star Wars. Anyway, that's a rant. I apologize for that, but I don't apologize. That's how I feel about it. I don't like SA in any medium, really. I really don't like it, especially depicted on the big screen. I don't like it absolutely in Star Wars where the target demographic is children. It's just, you don't put that crap in there like that. I'm sorry. So I'm done. I'm done with season. I'm not going to be like, oh, this guy's brilliant. Because you know what I think? I think that we think that Andor's brilliant because of the amount of crap we've gotten shoveled from all these other shows. They are so bad that Andor seems so much better that it's like, wow. I'm not saying it's horrible, but I'm saying it's decent. It's decent. That's how I felt about season 1. I was like, oh, this decent. I didn't think it was a freaking work of art, man. But when you compare that to all the trash that we've been given up to now, it looks like a masterpiece. So that's my 2 cents. Appreciate it. If you like this kind of stuff, man, like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and may the force be with you.